All right, so I think that one dilemma that arises with the implementation of the GDPR is that while in many lights it's a good law, it's progress in the right direction, there's also several facets on which it kind of fails to make, what would seem like no-brainer decisions and would further progress the state of how user private data is handled and whatnot. So, for example, through a Kantianistic perspective, it kind of fails to treat people with the respect that they should be treated in the way that, well, for example, Quora, this comes from the New York Times, but Quora, they're one of the big, like ask the question, get an answer sites, but they sent out this email that says, okay, there's this new law, we changed our privacy policy in this way, blah, blah, blah. And at the end of the email it says, and by continuing to use our site, you agree to our new user policy. And that just kind of treats people as ends to their mean of ad revenue and getting new user data to sell or maybe use to benefit their own site in other ways, etc. Instead of the kind of, I think, respect that they should be given it. And I think most people would agree on, in that they should be explicitly made aware that this is their last chance to either agree or deny the new user policy before using the site. But conversely, I think that through act utilitarianistic point of view, the GDPR is kind of, it presents more benefits than it does negatives. So, like, this stuff, like with Quora, it already happens, and it's not like it introduces this new problem, it just fails to act on that. But it does introduce, the GDPR, it does introduce many new, pretty broad concepts that are, I think, universally good. So just for example, this comes from ZDNet, and it pretty much says that the GDPR mandates that companies have to make it public when there's a breach in their data and of their user data, and that they have to do it within 72 hours, or I think if it's may or thought to be considerably important, then it has to be done ASAP. And I think that we can all agree that that's a pretty big benefit universally, and you can't really argue against it. And then also this comes from DPO Center, but it's just another one of the few aspects, I think, that kind of outweigh the harms of the GDPR, and it's that it kind of expands the concept of private user data from things such as your name and your address to things like your IP address and your biometric information, so like finger scans and like face scans, iris scans, and also internet cookies, so information that websites have collected about you to kind of highlight your online behavior and whatnot. And I just think that those are a few of the things that outweigh the harms, which there aren't necessarily any harms, but rather just kind of lack of progress where there probably should be. But yeah, that's just a few of the ways that I think that the GDPR is beneficial.